Forum, your way to keep up with state and community leaders, experts, and local business leaders. This is your chance to hear from and talk to people that affect your life right here in Rim Country. You can express your opinions by calling 474-2427. And remember, the comments and opinions of guests and callers are not necessarily the opinions of KMOG. Welcome to Rim Country Forum.
Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Forum. Charlie Seraphin with you. Thank our sponsors before we begin: the Dana Law Group, Banner Health, Payson Medical Center, Pinnacle Propane, Realty Executives Arizona Territory, the Owens Law Firm, and Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration. Each time that we pray a prayer of thanksgiving for all of our blessings, and we talk about the natural elements, the beauty of our area, the vegetation, the animals, and all that stuff. But we sometimes forget to give thanks for the human resources that we have here too. And we have three outstanding human beings in the studio this morning, and I'm always tickled when Dr. HALLMAN is here to share his wisdom of the animal kingdom with us. But it's really important to think about, because we've chosen this area to live in, those human resources. You know, the people who have also lived in this area and make a contribution to what's going on. And I can't think of anybody that makes a greater contribution than what you've made over the years and not just to all the people who live here, but all of their pets and their animals and horses and larger mammals and little creatures, whatever they are, because I'm sure you see them all at some time or other. So good morning and welcome. That's our introduction.
Good morning. Thank you. You're very kind. And I do appreciate the prayers you give up before the show. I think that's well stated. So, yeah, I feel blessed almost every day I go to work, because I do have a wonderful staff, and I'm able to give them a way to make a living, and they allow me to practice medicine in a proper way, and without having to work overly hard. They can work hard and take a lot of load off of the doctors at the clinic, which I don't know. I guess you were gone the last month that we were here, but we have a new associate, Dr. Sarah Ashburn, who's a new graduate from Midwestern University. She was on with Dr. Card, and she's been a great addition to our clinic, and just a real sharp young lady, and we're really looking forward to watching her grow. But yeah, we just have a wonderful staff, and a lot of experience, a lot of years with us. I think my longest associate or employee is 24 years, and goes all the way down to a few months. But
passion, commitment.
Yeah,
those are the kind of qualities that we really hope for when we pray for, is to have people around us who have a passionate commitment to what they do, because they do a better job.
Right.
When you have that, yeah. if you're working for money and you're going through the motions, it doesn't always turn out so good.
Sure. No, I really strive to make it a work environment that they enjoy coming to work every day. And they're professional, but yet they are compassionate. They're driven. They are all good team players, and I think for the most part, they enjoy each other's company. When they come in the morning, it's like this morning. I was back in my office, and they slowly trickle in, and the chatter gets more and more, and laughter and everything else, and that's nice to hear in a workplace. So I think for the most part, most people enjoy coming to work. Sometimes we see stuff that is not the funnest to see, when we see really sick animals, or have clients that we've known for a long time who are getting sick or passing away. That's tough on us too. But then we also have the positive side. We see cases that we can make a difference with, and we see young puppies and kittens coming in that, those people have a big smile on their face, even though their fingers are all chewed up and everything. But I have a puppy right now too, and he's just in that real teenage year. So I can empathize with them. But yeah, the COVID has really spurred a lot of people to get pets. And I mean, Payson was an area with a high per capita ownership of dogs and cats and animals anyways, but boy, I think it's just taken off during COVID. So we're extremely busy, as are all the clinics in town that I know of. And you know, we are blessed here that we have good doctors and good clinics in the area, and you know, we're trying to hold up our end too.
Well, none other than Star Valley Veterinary Clinic. And we have a couple of guests in studio. Danielle and Ellie are here. Danielle Dwissler was here before with us, right? Yeah. Good morning. Yeah, we'll get in there close and say good morning to these folks. And how you feeling?
Good. How are you?
Do you like coming to work every day?
I do.
Yeah. What's the best part?
The best part is, I don't know, all of it, I guess. So I think the only bad part is having to do euthanasia, obviously.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate being able to help animals. I mean, we treat the animals like they're our own. So we just, you know, they're one of our household, basically.
Did you know that you would be involved in veterinary medicine as a child?
No, I was actually afraid of dogs as a kid.
You were? Wow.
Yeah, I was like deathly afraid. My mom would have to carry me in and out of houses. We never had animals growing up, but now I made up for that. Got 5 dogs and 3 cats.
That's a really unusual. What do you think the switch was? What happened to change your life course?
I needed a job desperately. I was 18 and I started working at the emergency clinic in Mesa, and I learned a lot there, and I just took off with it. And I really enjoyed seeing people being able to help animals who can't communicate with you, basically, and be able to help them.
Okay. And good morning, Ellie Driscoll. Welcome to the program.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, you're Sunshine. I think,
thank you.
If you could have a nickname, we'd call you Sunshine.
Oh.
Yeah. And so
she takes after her mom for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So you're 18 years old?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you're going into a related but a little bit different aspect of healthcare.
So I'm going to do, I'm going into the community college for nursing, and surprise, surprise, everybody in my family's in the medical field. But yeah, I'm going into nursing, and one of the biggest things that like made me decide to do that is like I want to go into the NICU program, or NICU. I want to work in the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit in a hospital. And one of the biggest things that made me decide that is that like I love, this kind of sounds morbid, but I love taking care of the very sick puppies, because it just like they have so much life left, and I want to be able to help give them that. So just helping the puppies get better and feel a lot better just makes me happy. So I want to be able to do that with people and babies, and want to help take care of infants and help them be able to have a long, happy, healthy life.
I don't know for sure because I haven't had this experience, but I've been told that it's a lot less painful if you take care of the small infants rather than having them yourself.
Yeah. I mean, like when I'm off work, I mean, Saturday I babysat for 13 hours, and it's nice because get them in the morning, you say, hey, how's it going? Get to take her bowling, take her to the movies, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you can go home. I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to feed you,
you
put
sound
you
like
to
a
bed.
grandparent already. That's what grandparents say. So we're going to open the phones this morning, 474-2427. You have a question about your pet or animals, and we've got a few that we're going to throw out there as well. But if you'd like to join the conversation, you have a question for Dr. Alan HALLMAN or for Ellie or Danielle about anything related to the animal world. And I'm going to start it out this morning with something that happened last night. I've got an almost 9-year-old Aussie, and she as she gets older, she's becomes more and more sensitive to the thunder. And she didn't want to eat dinner last night. I made sure, brought it inside, put her in a quiet, inside place, and said, "Come on, now you got to eat your dinner." But no, she just is really getting, and she wasn't like that when she was younger. The 2-year-old, her adopted sister, I hate to even say that because I think they're different breeds. They're both supposed to be Australian Shepherds, but they're so different. But just unfazed by it. She'll sit out with me and watch the lightning storm come in and watch the thunder and just be amazed by it all and no reaction. So why is that? why do some, especially older animals, grow more sensitive to the loud sounds?
It seems like that's not unusual to see dogs become more sensitive as they get older. I don't know exactly why. There's been a lot postulated, and one of the most common theories for storm fright now is the feeling of static electricity that may be in the air from these lightning strikes and thunder, and how it can affect dogs and cats and animals differently. Obviously, their senses are so much more acute than ours are. There are even some thunder shirts now that are made with, I think it's some type of anti-static metal woven into the fabric and things like that. But barometric pressure swings can affect animals a lot, as they can with people. I've got some staff members that get headaches when the barometric pressure swings, sinus headaches, things like that. And they can tell when there's a storm coming in. And just like some people who have arthritis, they can feel in their joints they're a little sore, that there's going to be some changes coming. And animals are definitely very prone to that. So, barometric pressure swings. When I used to do large animal works, we saw a lot more colic in horses during those times. And I think that probably was a result of maybe decreased blood flow to the gut, possibly. We don't know exactly why, but dogs are extremely sensitive to that. So there's a lot of different things that, we probably go through more sedatives and calming medications this time of year than any time the rest of the time of year put together, really.
Yeah. 4th of July and the fireworks display, I know that bothers a lot of dogs. She doesn't seem to be as affected by that. So I'm thinking what you just said about barometric pressure and the static electricity that they feel in the air. Maybe that's it.
Right.
She ate a good breakfast this morning, though. She's happy. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Hey, Charlie. It's Chuck.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi, Chuck.
Hey, unfortunately, I got a traffic incident to report. There's yet another serious accident on eastbound Highway 260, right at Granite Dells, where the Safeway parking lot is, that intersection there. Looks to be about a 3 or 4 car accident, possible head-on. Looks like there's injuries. A lot of safety personnel and emergency equipment on scene. Traffic is backed up on eastbound 260 all the way to the B line. So just a heads up, if you're heading that area, you might want to avoid the area. Traffic is pretty well backed up. Looks like the accident just occurred a few minutes ago. So heads up, if you're heading in that area, you might want to avoid it.
Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that very much. We'll keep everybody away from that intersection. So if you're local, you know the back roads and the way to get around it. But stay away from 260 there, near Granite Dells and by the Safeway, and probably stay away from the 260 87 interchange as well. So thank you, Chuck.
Yep. All right.
Appreciate it. Well, that's not what we wanted to hear this morning to start things out. So. So there are other than some kind of specially woven blankets and that sort of thing and sedatives. Is there anything else that we can do for our pets that have sensitivities to the change in weather or thunder and lightning?
I think Danielle's a specialist in that area.
Okay, good.
She has one.
I've tried everything. I have one dog who actually chewed her way out of her kennel halfway, unhinged her door, and was walking around my house with a door attached to her when I came home from work because of the storm fright. I've resorted to, actually, my boyfriend and I, we drive her around in the back of my car when the storms are happening with music playing. So that actually helps her a lot. She's kind of neurotic, very neurotic. But sometimes you can play classical music. They have actual dog stations like on Pandora or Spotify that are specific to dog anxiety. You can try that. You can put them in a quiet bathroom. You can try and play with them to keep their mind focused. But sedatives, thunder shirts, music. Just keeping them comfortable, trying to take their brain off of it. But yeah, my dog can sense a storm like 2 hours before it happens.
Wow. You know, Dr. HALLMAN told us on a program that a lot of times pets reflect their owners, and you just said your dog is neurotic, but you don't strike me as that kind of person. You're pretty laid back.
I am.
You know?
I have 5 dogs, and she's the only nutcase that I have.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, was she a rescue?
Yes and no. I got her when she was about 4 months old, but she's just crazy.
What kind of dog is she?
Australian Shepherd Mastiff mix.
Oh, okay. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
This is Gary.
Hi, Gary.
We have a almost 3-year-old. She's a chocolate lab retriever pointer, and she has separation anxiety, real bad.
Do you tell her when you're going to leave home and she's going to have to be alone for a little while, or how does she exhibit the behavior?
Well, let's see. We had got her. We didn't think a lot about it the first time we got her, and we decided to go out to eat. Left her home, and she kind of tore things up big time. Come home, so then she started going with us all the time. Then we decided to try one of the kennels. We set it up in the house. She went in and out. She laid in it, ate in it, everything. Well, then we decided to go. That was a few months later, and we decided to go to movies. Well, we got home, and the kennel was destroyed. She had tore apart and was out. She goes every place with us because we don't dare to leave her at home. And if we get out of the vehicle, she has torn up a few things in the truck. Don't know what to do.
All right. Well, Dr. HALLMAN's going to give you a magic cure here. I can just feel it coming on.
Get a second dog.
Yeah. There you go.
Second dog?
Yeah, get a second dog. Give her a friend. That might help. They also have toys that keep them occupied, like puzzle toys. Even if you were to hide treats around your house that she can find, they have cube toys that you can put dog food into where she actually has to knock it around, which is nice when you're not home because it's loud. But you put like her meal in that toy, and it only comes out 2 to 3 kibbles at a time, and it should keep her occupied. Otherwise, recommend getting her tired and exercising her before you leave, not only mentally, but not only physically, but mentally as well. Work on new tricks because they like to learn new things and might make her feel more comfortable once you leave.
Because we leave the radio on for her, and she's got toys all over the house.
Yeah, that's a tough one for sure. There are a few food supplements that can be helpful. We have one at the clinic that we use. It's called Soloquin, and I believe that's a milk protein base that can help with some calming influences. I know some people have touted CBD as a calming agent for dogs. That's the derivative of cannabidiol from hemp plants. It's got a very low concentration of THC in it, which is what makes people high when they use marijuana, which, by the way, I think we mentioned before, the number one toxicity in the United States is ingestion of marijuana by dogs, so it can be fatal to dogs. So we have to be careful that we use CBD rather than a THC treat or something. But those have been touted a bit. Obviously you've tried the kennel type situation, and that's one that works well for some dogs. What Danielle mentioned, getting her a playmate might be helpful. If it was a rescue dog, I've seen a number of those that have come through rescue that they were problems that they inherited, the new owners inherited. So some dogs are just naturally that way, and it can be very, very difficult. We do have sedatives that can be helpful. We have a number of dogs that take mental drugs that just like people take, alprazolam, trazodone, some of these type of drugs that are used for anxiety in people. We can use those in dogs too for severe cases. So, that's something. If that's the case, then we would recommend checking some blood work, make sure organ function is good, and selecting a medication that will be safe for the animal. But yeah, that's a tough situation, and it's not an easy fix all the time, for sure.
Right.
So I empathize with you.
Yeah, because we've tried the CBD drops and stuff like that, and even the pills. There was one pill they gave us was a real strong one, and it knocked her out for 6 hours, and didn't really care for that happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of medications that are mood-altering medications, initially they have heavy sedative effects, and with time they become less and less as the animal builds a tolerance to it. So,
Right.
you know, that's just because it happened initially doesn't mean it would happen long term. But
Oh, I see.
yeah, so
Yeah,
Is
You
this
know-
something that the dog can grow out of? How old is your dog?
almost 3.
yeah,
She was we got her from the Humane Society. She was an escape artist.
Mhm.
She had escaped from their outside pens twice. The one not escapable, she got out of that one. But we got that part of it under control.
Sure. Well, we have to appreciate that of the dogs that are given up in this country, it's been estimated that up to 60% of them going into shelters or into rescue groups are there because of behavioral issues. So, you know, it's something that she came with, and you know, it may not be an easy fix. We do have animal behavior specialists. We have a couple of really good ones down in the valley that work with those type of things. So that's an option too. And you know, so I think it just depends how far you want to go. I was at a seminar one time on animal behavior modifications, and they used this one guy who was he lived alone. He had a German Shepherd that he adopted, and the dog kept attacking him. Every time he came in the house, it would viciously attack him. And he went to this behaviorist that was giving the talk at the conference, and they showed a whole 2 years of what this guy went through of behavior modification and drugs and different things, and I think it got down to like one mauling a month. But I mean, it put the guy in the hospital a couple of times and things like that. And you know, in my mind, there's only one treatment for that dog, and it's not to extend his life, you know. But this man was willing to do that, and he was willing to put up with that. But I'm not advocating that an animal should be euthanized for anxiety. There's certainly a lot of other options to go, but there are some bad behaviors in you know, it's true in people too. There are some people that are just wired wrong, and they're not meant to be in society, irregardless of what people think. There are some people that don't mix well in society. So, you know, I'm more of a pragmatist and a realist with that, but I see it with animals, you know. But anxiety can usually be dealt with in some way or shape. So.
Yeah, we brought her into you when we first got her to have her checked over and stuff.
Yeah, but I can say that that's probably one of the more frustrating things that we see with clients is separation anxiety, because the destruction level can be extremely high, for sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, maybe the recommendation that Dr. HALLMAN gave a little bit ago is to have that blood work done again and check and see, and maybe there's some kind of a mild sedative that you can anti-anxiety drug that you could administer and help. The only other idea, now I'm not a vet and this is not official advice here, but I'm just saying, if you have an escape artist, maybe you could sell tickets and create a kind of a dog circus thing where people could come and see how long it would take for her to get out or whatever.
Yeah.
Houndini. Yeah, there you go.
The only way we figured out to keep her in her back area was I put bird netting up on top of the fence. Well, she can't climb it.
Oh.
Because it moves.
That's funny.
Wow.
And that kept her in.
Yeah.
That's a special dog. I mean, that dog has some unique purpose in the world. We just haven't discovered it yet. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, she's about due for, in October, so probably be bringing her down to get her shots and stuff and have her checked out.
All right.
Very good.
See if Danielle's around. I think she's a dog whisperer. She may be able to help you with the problem.
All righty.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate your call. That's, the story you told about the German Shepherd, right from the beginning, I was where you got at the end. I went like, no, this is not happening. This dog is not mauling me and putting me in the hospital if it's my pet, and I'm feeding it. It's like, that's a loose screw.
Yeah.
And it, like you said, it happens in the human population, and I guess we're in a minority because it's not politically correct to feel that way. But we just have to do something. We have to do something with animals that are that way, and we have to do something with our people. And we have so much mental illness on the streets of our urban centers. That's what's really scary.
Yeah, is
there thousands and thousands of people who literally have just chosen to live in a tent on a sidewalk and they don't carry their own poop bags with them either, and that's really crazy.
My son just moved from Seattle to Pennsylvania, and he was an animal control officer in the city of Seattle for 7 years, and he spent a good amount of time in the homeless encampments in Seattle, which are pretty extensive there. I think they've got over 75,000 homeless in the city there, and a lot of them have dogs. And we talk about how dogs can mirror the emotions of the people, and he was saying that some of those dogs are way out there that he'd have to go work with, and a lot of them are pit bulls and bigger breeds that people use for protection while they're in their encampments and things. And he said it wasn't real fun to have to go down there all the time.
Can't imagine.
Yeah. But no, my point is, with an aggressive animal, I've had clients that come in and said, the dog bites me occasionally, and he's really, really out of control if anybody walks by the house or something like that, and that's pushing the line with me. If that dog gets out and mauls and kills a child or something like that, I can't even fathom how terrible that would be. I mean, there are some dogs, if somebody has a vicious dog and they want it euthanized, I have no problem doing that. I mean, that's just, everybody has the right not to be chewed up by a dog. Yeah. So, unfortunately, that's the case.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear it. I mean, people need to hear that. And there may be someone listening right now who has an animal like that. Mm-hmm. And if it's a danger to society, you better deal with it because you are liable as a pet owner, right?
Oh, yeah. I think it's in the billions every year that insurance claims settle for dog bites. It's huge. Yeah.
28 minutes before 10 o'clock, you're listening to the Rim Country Forum here on KMOG and KMOGcountry.com if you're listening across the country and around the world. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll have more with Dr. Ellen HALLMAN and Danielle and Ellie from Star Valley Veterinary Clinic right after this.
We've learned to make lemonade out of lockdown, but we've also learned screen time is not the same as you and me time, and there's no substitute for quality time. So if immunity means community, that Stop the Press is news to me. Back to life's beauty is a vision sublime. If vaccine is the ticket, show me the dotted line. Sign me up for a return to sanity. Sign me up for a shot of humanity. Get vaccinated today. A message from Banner Health.
The Dana Law Group will educate and guide you through the entire estate planning process. Wills, trusts, power of attorney, and probate representation. You know estate planning is important. Don't put it off. Having a proper estate plan means your assets will be dispersed according to your wishes. Consultation is free. The Dana Law Group, 431 South Beeline Highway. Set your mind at ease. Don't wait. Call them today. Dana Law Group, 928-445-4440. Alliant Gas Pinnacle Propane is Rim Country's longest-running propane company and #1 source for safe, reliable propane service and delivery throughout the area. Their many dedicated and experienced customer service representatives are ready to assist you 7 to 5 p. Monday through Friday with after-hours on-call and emergency service readily available. Propane is safe, economical, and environmentally friendly. Alliant Gas Pinnacle Propane, 474-2294. Remember, be safe and call 811 before you dig.
You're listening to the Rim Country Forum on KMOG. Our number is 474-2427. If you have a question or a comment this morning about your animal, we've had a couple of interesting calls, and we'll take yours if you have a question for Dr. HALLMAN or Danielle or Ellie. And Ellie, we're going to go to you next, and we're going to talk about a subject that is near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. The relationship between, we talked about the dog that has anxiety, but what about when the person has anxiety and how animals are used to help people who have anxiety issues?
So yeah, this is a thing that I deal with a lot. Like, I have pretty severe anxiety, and I take my dog everywhere that I can with me. She's not registered as a service animal, so I don't take her into anywhere that she can't go. But if I have a panic attack or just am starting to get anxiety, she'll come lay next to me, or if I'm laying down, she'll come and lay on my chest and just let me pet her. And she's a pretty wound up dog. I mean, she's had to have her knee redone twice because she's very, very athletic. But if she notices that I'm having anxiety or anything like that, she'll come sit next to me, calm me down. And yeah, a lot of people have dogs like that. I mean, there's the other side where your dog has anxiety and you can't deal with that. But with my side, I got lucky. She is the sweetest, and no matter what, like, she's always right next to me with anything.
You don't have to say anything or do anything. She just picks up on your vibe.
I mean, sometimes I start hyperventilating, and then she notices. She's like, "Oh, that's not okay."
Yeah. That would be a sign.
But yeah, she'll just come sit next to me and just hang out, and she's the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're fortunate that
I am.
That you have a dog that has that instinctive connection.
Yeah, definitely.
We see quite a few that are used for that reason: anxiety or panic attacks or depression. And then we see specialized dogs that we've taken care of over the years that can detect when somebody's going to have a seizure. They can predict that. They can tell the person when their blood pressure is high. We've had dogs that can smell when the blood glucose is high for somebody who's a diabetic. It's pretty incredible what some of these service animals are able to do. So, they become an extremely important part of those people's lives, and it can't be underscored how vital those animals are to day-to-day existence for some people.
Oh, it's awesome. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Good morning. Excuse me, it's David. Haven't talked enough.
Hi, David.
Isn't it true that humans, if they're afraid of storms, they teach the dog to be afraid of storms?
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if I've heard that before, but the animals are so acute with their senses. I'm sure anytime that I'm angry or nervous or anxious, my dogs can pick it up right now. Mm-hmm. So that only makes sense. If somebody gets nervous when there's a storm coming or recoils when they hear a clap of thunder, I would imagine their dog would pick that up like right now. And, when we're fearful or anxious, we release pheromones, which are microscopic particles that we can't see, we can't smell them, but dogs and animals can smell those. So they can smell fear, they can smell anxiety, they can smell depression. They can smell different emotions that they can pick up through pheromones that are released from our body. So yeah, I would certainly think that would factor into it.
But once fear is instilled to a dog because the human is afraid, can that be ever repaired?
That sounds like a good question for Danielle.
Well, I'm not afraid of storms, but my dog is. I'm sure with work with a human, having work with a doctor or a therapist, if they can get over their anxiety, I'm sure the dog could eventually through work with a dog trainer.
Yeah.
Probably blamed owners for their dogs having these fears because a firecracker goes off, they jump. There's a storm or a lightning bolt or something, they jump and the dog jumps. But if they don't jump, the dog doesn't get the anxiety, I think.
Well, I'm gonna take that one on just based on my experience with our older dog. if I was going to start over and have a profession, one of the things I would consider would be a storm chaser, because I'm fascinated by storms. I love electric storms. I have it all my life since I was a kid, and now with the monsoons coming in, sometimes in the afternoon, I'll just sit outside and I'll just watch the clouds form, and I love the. It's my wife is a little more nervous. I guess sometimes she'll say, don't you want to come in now? It's getting a little close,er and I guess it's, you don't want to run around carrying a lightning rod and say, come on and dare nature. But there's we don't have that fear in our house, but the older dog reacts to it. And like I said, and the other one that's in the same household has absolutely just fearless. And maybe as she gets older, she may get more sensitive, but so I don't know that theory. I can understand what you're saying, and that's logical that the dogs would pick up on some emotion of the person, but I think there are a lot of dogs that just are reacting to the weather that we're having right now, and I don't think yours is and mine is, and so there's some other ones out there that do it as well.
Well, also animals can perceive changes in electromagnetic fields and barometric pressures way before we can. I've seen animals that do have, horses that colic, for example, when storms are coming, or dogs that have storm fright. They're going to start to get nervous way before we even can feel it. So, there may be some situations, and I have seen it, where people are excitable or anxious, and the dogs reflect that for sure. I can tell you one thing. I've worked with some animals that were owned by people who are addicted to methamphetamines, and those animals look like they're bouncing off the wall. I mean, they just are reflecting that.
They're always on high alert.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, interesting thought. A good call. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
You bet. Okay. There you go. Well, there we go. I see, we're doing a psychology kind of program this morning. We're doing about animal psychology. So, off the air, and we've talked about this on the air before too, the reintroduction of wolves into the environment. But I want to go a little bit different direction. What about the elk herd in Payson? The numbers are definitely increasing. They're in a protected environment. I saw two males and young males in my yard this morning in velvet, and that. I'm seeing more regularly now, but there's a large herd, and sometimes they'll see 25, 30 elk in one place at one time. Here in Payson, they seem to spread out. They got little cliques or whatever, and they go here, and especially during this time of year when the males are hanging together and there's not any competition. Right. Could we see a time in the not too distant future when we'd have to do some kind of population control in the elk community within this urban environment of small urban, but the metropolitan area here of Payson and Star Valley?
Well, I think it's really been exacerbated the last 5 or 6. Well, we're in a 12-year drought cycle right now, or 17, or whatever it is. But it seems like we've been in a drought for a long time. So I think that's one of the main reasons that the elk are coming into town, especially the last couple years, as they're coming because we water our plants, and we like to raise pretty plants that the elk like to eat, that type of thing. So I think in more normal years, we don't have as many in town, although the ones that are born in town seem to be learning where the crosswalks are, and, they're getting more used to living in an urban environment. And, we do have hunting seasons here that are based on census surveys by the Game and Fish Department that, that take out a certain percentage every year. It's not a huge percentage, but, tries to keep the herd in check. We do have a fair number of the calves, elk calves, and deer fawns that are harvested by predators every year, bears, mountain lions, coyotes. I mean, if we have 40% survival on fawn crop and deer, that's very high. So we have some years, some units where the surveys show that there might be 10% survival of those fawns. And elk can be about the same way. You get 30, 40, 50% calf crop survival. That's pretty darn high. So, the natural predation takes its toll. The ones in town here, I mean, you could probably ask the auto body repair companies how many cars they see every year from elk strikes on the highway. It's a pretty high number. But, I guess the only way to get around that is, stop planting things that the elk like to eat. But, I think most people that live in town.
I mean, the elk, when they eat everything, people say, oh, they won't eat, any of those kind of evergreens. I mean, are you kidding me? They just chew the bark right off. And I sat there and watched them. I was like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to like that. And the manzanitas, they eat manzanitas all day long if there's nothing else. Yeah. Weeds, the oak shoots for sure. Those are kind of a delicacy, I guess. But it doesn't seem like there's anything. And, forget the flowers and all the pretty plants, those are gone. It's just, if you put them out where they can get to them, they're going to get to them. They're going to eat them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I did a pretty hefty landscaping project at my house a few years ago, and the first thing we did was build a 300-foot iron fence that was 7.5 foot tall. And we haven't had any in yet, but anything that climbs that fence that's edible to the outside, they wait till it grows, and then they come about once every week and harvest what's sticking through the fence, and you can see the path outside of the fence.
Yeah. But, and the rabbits get in too.
Right? Yeah, right.
Rabbits, squirrels. They're really clever. They can squeeze through a really small space. I saw one going under the fence the other day where it was like, no, that fence is down in the ground. How did it do that? Some tricky animals. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Hi, it's Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Hi. I was wondering, you mentioned knee surgery on a dog, and I was wondering if you do that up here.
Yes, we do. Depending on the injury and depending on the type of surgery that's required. The most common orthopedic injury we see in dogs is a ruptured anterior cruciate ligament in the knee. And the cruciate ligaments are called cruciate because there's two of them and they cross each other within the joint. So the anterior cruciate ligament is the one that prevents your shin bone from moving forward, and so it keeps that part of the knee stable. We do repairs with those at the clinic. Some dogs that are very big and may have very poor hind leg conformation, and the type of surgery we do may not be the best for them. So we do refer some of those which sometimes need plates or additional changes in the angle of the knees. And but overall we do those surgeries. We do some surgeries to repair medial patellar luxations where the kneecap slides to the inside. We just did Ellie's dog for the second time. And she's doing quite well with that.
Yeah, she got it about 3 weeks ago, and she's not using it completely yet, which is totally understandable with being cut open. But she's still running around, going up and down the stairs, even though I don't let her. And she's doing really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, unfortunately, my dog would fall under the category of difficult. He's overweight, and he's a lab that, when you look at his back end, he looks like another breed. I'll just put it that way. Very bow-legged. Very, very bow-legged. So we've been sitting on this knowing someday it could happen. And I took him in for a front leg injury and got told, actually, the front leg's that's nothing, but the back leg is like maybe a partial tear.
Partial tear, yeah.
So I'm making preparations to have surgery, but I think it's going to be a doozy, just because of the way he's built.
Right. And that may be one that we would look at and say, hey, I think he probably needs to go to a surgeon in the valley for a more advanced type of surgical stabilization than what we do. But obesity is, that's one of the number one problems we see with dogs and cats. And I've had dogs that have had cruciate ligaments where the owners didn't want to have the surgery done, but they had their pets lose a bunch of weight, and the dogs were functional. So, just like with people, we can't carry around huge amounts of weight and not expect that our hips and knees and back and ankles and everything else aren't going to take a beating, which, they do. That's just a given. You can't put all that extra stress on the joints. And then if he's bow-legged, you put that abnormal hind end conformation on top of that. And oftentimes what we see is those guys start to get sore in the hind end and they start to transfer weight forward, so we start to see arthritis in the spine. We see arthritis in the front end, or start to get shoulder sprains and things like that. I remember one dog that we did both his knees at one time. He came into the clinic walking only on his front legs, holding his hind end in the air. So that's how much weight he was transferring to the front legs. So it's just like with us, if we sprain our ankle or have a bad knee, before long your hip hurts, before long your back hurts, your other hip part starts to hurt because you're compensating. You're trying to move weight off of that injured part. So, obesity that's huge with joint disease, and it's just...
Well, he and his brother are on a very strict diet, have been for a couple weeks now, 2 weeks, so...
Excellent.
They look at me cross-eyed when I give it to them. They're not happy, but that's it. It's like, nope, you're going to lose weight, both of you.
Well, the other thing we see, too, especially with the larger breed dogs, is hypothyroidism. And a lot of dogs that are low on thyroid will carry a lot of extra weight. So,
all right. Sorry. Okay, thank you very much for the information.
You're welcome. Good question.
Thank you. Appreciate your call. 10 minutes before 10 o'clock here, Rim Country Forum. We're talking with Dr. Alan HALLMAN from Star Valley Veterinary Clinic, and Danielle and Ellie are here, and I know we have more questions coming in. We'll take care of some business, and we'll have more after this.
Attorney Jared Owens of the Owens Law Firm would like to thank the community for recognizing him as Best Attorney in the recent Payson Roundup's Best of the Rim. Whether you have an estate planning issue, need a trust or will drafted, or have another legal matter, the Owens Law Firm is available to help. Come see why Attorney Jared Owens was voted Best Attorney. To schedule a consultation, call 928-472-4303 or go online to owenslawaz.com for more information.
Hi everybody, Jeff Murtaugh, CEO and designated broker of Real Estate Executives Arizona Territory. Real Estate Executives Arizona Territory is proud of Kim Ross, voted the 2021 Best Realtor, Best Broker, and Best Female Business Person in the Rim Country. Congratulations, Kim. Very well deserved. When you're looking to buy or sell real estate, hire the best. Real Estate Executives Arizona Territory is powered by the expert agents in 28 offices throughout the state of Arizona. We do residential and commercial. We are a full-service brokerage. Contact us at our website at realestateexecutives.com.
Dirty carpet, tile, upholstery, wood floors, oriental rugs. Trust all your cleaning needs to the experts. Air conditioning, vents and ducts, flood or fire damage, mold removal. Trust the experts. Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, 511 South Beeline. Jesse Clark and the Sunshine staff, certified and reliable for over 30 years. Trust the experts to be on site within 1 hour in the Payson area for emergency water extraction. Emergency or just a dirty carpet? Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, 474-2521.
We're talking all things animals, pets, dogs in particular today. Lots of issues coming up. Let's go back to the phones. Say good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
This is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. I want to thank you first for your excellent program and for Dr. HALLMAN and his dedication to all the animals here in the country. I have a probably a pretty simple question, and that would be, at what would be the earliest stage you would recommend to spay an indoor kitten, and or even when is the earliest time you've ever seen a kitten come into season?
Yeah, that's a good question. Normally we recommend around 6 months of age, and at that point they aren't likely to have come into heat. At that point, I think the earliest I've seen cats come into heat is about 7 or 8 months. So, depending on when they're born, also if they're hitting sexual maturity in the spring, when the day lengths are increasing, they may come into heat a little earlier, because that's a natural stimulus to induce reproduction, is increasing day length. But most cats will not come into heat before 7 or 8 months. So,
that's good news.
Yeah.
I had one other question.
Sure.
And that is, I know the program touched on the euthanasia, and I just wondered, is there a grief support group here in Payson, or do you know of one that you would recommend for people that really are struggling with losing one of their dogs or cats or birds?
That's a really good question, because you know, I know that people that have been through that with their pets understand how difficult it can be. People that haven't or haven't owned animals don't understand the bond that develops between people and their pets. And it's, you know, I grew up on a farm and a ranch. We had dogs and cats outside, and, you know, they'd get injured or sick, and we'd have to put them to sleep, and we weren't attached to them. They weren't in our house. I mean, we were attached, but they had a job to do. You know, things have changed a lot. When I let my pets in my house, then they become part of my family, and the emotional attachment becomes so much more. So that is a good question. I don't know of any support group in town here. I know there are some online animal pet loss support groups. I would probably Google that. You know, just like there are all sorts of support groups that you can join and go online and get some help there. The shelter possibly might have some information about that. I don't know. Yeah, I know that it's it definitely. We've had clients already that when they lost their pet, we called public health services because we were so concerned about their health. We wanted them checked on. So, you know, just addressing that issue ahead of time certainly is very, you know, that's good foresight, because it can be a lot deeper than most people think. The first year I came out of vet school, I had 3 clients who were all widowers who all died within 1 week of their pet dying. And that told me something about attachment there. You know, in all cases, the pet was there when their spouse was still alive, so it's maybe their last attachment to the spouse. So, you know, I think being open about it with your family and friends, talking about the type of pain you're going through, talking about, you know, the loss that you're feeling, you know, addressing the grief you have, and, you know, being honest about how you feel, that probably is as good as anything. You know, being around people who are willing to listen and have a shoulder to talk, you know, to lean on, and maybe your pastor, or if you're active in a church group, or you know, there's lots of groups in town that I think could be, you know, especially if you live by yourself. If you hole up and just sort of snuggle down and think you can handle it, that's probably the worst case scenario. I think being honest about how you're feeling and talking with somebody who you know would have a vested interest in hearing, then I think that would be my suggestion if you didn't go to some online grief support group.
Well, thank you so very much.
If you can, if you pursue this a little bit, I would love to hear back from you. I bet there are quite a few people listening this morning that are. I think you've touched a nerve that's really important. We have someone in our neighborhood who lost a pet, who's a really outgoing person, and we used to see her all the time. I mean, she was just almost kind of in-your-face kind of person, you know. I mean, she was really outgoing, and she has just she's disappeared. She's just retreated into her home, and it happened immediately after the loss of a dog that she'd had for, you know, 12, 14 years, something, a long time. And it's, you know, everybody's concerned about her, and it would be really good if there was some kind of a grief support group in the area. So if you pursue that, if you find out anything online, please call us back and let us know, and we'll share the information. Will. Okay.
Thank you for your excellent program, and thank you, Dr. HALLMAN.
Yeah, excellent question too. I appreciate that.
No, thank you so much. 3 widowers who died within a week of losing their pet.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And at that time, I don't know what it's like in vet school today, but we had zero training on, the psychology and emotional attachments of animals to their owners. So that was sort of a slap in the face and a wake-up call to me. But, I mean, we've all seen it here. I'm sure Ellie and Danielle have seen it where, like you were mentioning, people just... I have clients all the time that say, the only reason I'm alive today is this little dog or this cat that gets me up every morning and makes me take them out and feed them and gives me a purpose in life. Yeah. When you live alone, that beating heart that's next to you means a lot. So that can't be discounted.
Once again, thank you, Ellie, Danielle, Dr. HALLMAN. Great program. A lot of people are going to come away and think about some of the stuff we talked about today. It wasn't the normal routine, but the psychology of animals and the human-animal connection it's a critical subject. And thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Have a beautiful day. Thanks to our sponsors, Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, Owens Law Firm, the Realty Executives Arizona Territory, Pinnacle Propane, Banner Health, Payson Medical Center, and the Dana Law Group. Join us again tomorrow morning. We'll try to do it again. We're gonna